guys, welcome back to another live trading video. Today I'm taking a look at GBP USD and I am currently short this currency pair, looking for some downside, looking for this trend to continue here lower. Now let's take a quick look at the technical analysis and jump into this trade and why I actually just took it. Again, I am short right now, looking for this thing to roll over in favor of this downward trend. So let's take a look at it really quick. So a couple of things I want to point out is I've already marked up this thing. I've already, created the trade obviously and entered the position, but I want to sort of take this bit by bit. So the first thing I did is I drew a Fibonacci retracement. I drew it from the swing high here of this move here, and then I dragged it down to the bottom of this move here, which we saw this nice little trend to the downside, and now we are seeing a pullback. So I am a pullback trader. That is sort of my bread and butter go-to sort of approach when it comes to markets. And so what this does is doing this where I do the swing high to the swing low, that trend there has obviously some potential pullback areas as price sort of bounces off the lows. So we can see the 38.2, the 50% and the 61.8. And I really like the 61.8% level here because it does line up with what was past support. So again, keeping structure in mind is a pretty important component of my trading. So I'm a pullback trader, so I'm looking for pullbacks to reasonable areas of structure. So you can see price basically rounded off that level previously, but then once this level broke, that was a pretty big clear sign for the bears to take over this market. So as we've retraced here, I've been keeping my eye on the 61.8 level here on Monday. It's finally setting up, so I decided to take the short. Jumped into the short position there, and from a technical analysis standpoint, again, trend is nice to the downside overall. I'm looking for this thing to hopefully roll over in my favor, and I have also put a stop loss on my trade in case it doesn't. Now, I don't care who you are, you're not going to be 100% correct all the time, and even though this looks like a great setup to me, I am willing to take a loss on it if it goes against me, and that's why I have a stop loss on my trade. So I'm risking 45 pips here, which sounds maybe like a lot if you're a day trader, but as a swing trader, it's not that much. And also the pound dollar moves quite a bit. So I'm risking 45 pips here should price go against me. And if it rallies and the pound becomes super strong this week, then of course I will jump out of there and try and avoid, taking a big loss and keeping risk as managed as possible. So my stop loss is 45 pips there above the 61.8, because if this thing keeps going much higher, then I don't really want to be a part of it anymore, and I'd probably look for other entries in other areas to get short or other opportunities. So on top of that, I do want to add the fundamental analysis that goes into my trading. So whenever I take a trade, I don't trade exclusively using charts. I do also kind of do research and look into things that are macroeconomically potentially moving the market, right? Right now, we have a lot of sell-off going on in the S&P 500. The stock market's been taking a beating. And I do think that if that does continue, it could really hurt the pound, right? Because that pound is that sort of risk on currency, which we talk about on the channel quite often. So fundamental analysis, let me see if I can do a little highlighting here for you. So fundamental analysis right here. I said the dollar looks fundamentally strong still overall to me, and I'm willing to bet against the pound here, as I believe we could possibly still see more risk off sentiment in the UK, which they're having sort of an energy crisis right now, which is not good for them. But in terms of markets, that's something that you want to sort of at least take into account in my trading style. And then in the equity markets, we've been seeing a lot of heat, like I mentioned, which could drag risk on currencies like the pound lower in the short term. So I'm trying to just go along with that momentum that we did see last week to see if it wants to continue. If it does, then of course I will look to try and make some money. And if it doesn't, like I said, that's why we have the stop loss. I'm not 100% correct all the time. I wish I was. Trading would be really easy, but as we know, trading is difficult, and no matter what you do, there are going to be times where it works out. There are going to be times where it doesn't work out so well. So anyways, that's the plan here outlined before us now. So now what we do here is I'm going to pause the video, give it some time to play out. Once things have started to move, I'll come back and give you guys an update on the trade. All right, guys, so here's an update on my GBP USD position. You can see that where I initially got in a few days ago, actually now, I got in right here. So if you remember, I basically picked up my short position at this 61.8% retracement. I liked it to the downside, and although my setup was, in my opinion, a pretty good entry, the market went against me, and actually look at this, barely
hold on, let me fix that. Barely missed my stop loss. And I think that there's a lesson here, regardless of whether or not this trade becomes some massive winner or not. The lesson to me here is that stop losses and placement are very, very important. There's no way to get it right every single time, but it is important in my trading style to give my stop loss enough room to breathe. So again, I haven't really moved my stop loss at all. I haven't made any adjustments. I entered back here, price went a little bit in my favor, and then ultimately spiked up here. But again, I trusted the analysis. I kept the trade on. I didn't close out of fear or anything like that. I just held the trade and I said, hey, you know what? If it stops out, that's fine. I'll look for, other trades out there. There's plenty of trades in the sea. I think that's the expression, right? But anyways, the idea is my stop loss maintained, without getting hit. I was able to stay in the trade. Price rolled back over, big sell pressure came into the market, which is great. And now at this point, I'm floating about $130 of profit on the trade. Now, part of me, of course, is hearing the voices that are saying, Nick, take the profit. Look at all that money. You could just walk away and, lunch would be paid for by, I could pay for lunch for the week with that money, right? But the point here is, with my trading style, although there is that temptation to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to take that profit right now and just close out, I also know that the reason that I got into this trade was not to try and grab $130. My goal was to try and ride this thing hopefully back down to the lows. Now, whether or not that happens, we'll have to see. The market makes up its own decision. I don't get to choose what happens. But we are seeing the signals of, a nice little breakout to the downside here. And I don't want to sort of give up on that so quickly. I don't want to just take profits because, again, there's that old expression, right? You can't go broke taking a profit, right? But in my opinion, you actually can. This is, of course, my thoughts. But if you were to just close out of the trade here and leave this thing on the, without, holding on to any of the wins, right? If this thing collapses and your analysis was completely right, you may miss out on what really was the entire idea of the initial trade, which was trend pullback, looking for continuation, right? So I'm not done with this trade. I am currently floating $140 now on the trade. Pound dollar looking very, very weak. And I do like everything about this chart. I love the way that this thing is trending lower on the higher time frames, and on the lower time frames, we are starting to see those sellers come back into this market. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I am going to, I'm probably going to update this position, probably move my stop loss to break even. So I'll just move this stop right there. And then from there, we will give this trade some time to play out, and I will come back once things have updated. All right, guys, there we go. I just moved my stop loss to break even, as you can see, and I just sent this out to the group. Said pound dollar running really nice. Just moved my stop loss here slightly below my entry, locking in a small bit of profit. So there's the screenshot. And with that said, what I'm going to do is just pause, give this some time, and we'll come back once things move. All right, guys, and I am actually out of GBP USD. I decided to close my position a bit early here, and there's a couple reasons why. I just updated members inside of the group. I said I'm taking some profit here, so I ended up closing about $25 in profit. Nothing massive or anything like that, but I have a specific reason that I decided to actually close this trade. Currently, I do have other positions open on the dollar. For example, I have dollar yen open. I'm currently sitting in that trade, and I also want to sort of reduce my exposure to the dollar at this time, because tomorrow we have NFP. It is Thursday at the time of filming this, Thursday, October 6th. So we do have NFP tomorrow, and I know that that will create some big volatility for the dollar. So I am choosing to actually reduce my position size on the dollar across the board, just because, the context of this. I also have other trades open. So sometimes you guys see these trades, but I may have several open at the same time. I am closing out of my trade at this time, taking that profit off the table, because also I didn't love the price action here. So we did get that really nice sell-off there, and price, did see a move that I was looking for, but we didn't quite get the follow through. And this higher low here was basically sort of a signal to me that I'd like to go ahead and just hop out. So again, The trend line here basically holding for the bulls, and things sort of just showing signs of continuation to the upside for now. So my best action here was, again, I just chose to close the trade and reduce my exposure to the US dollar because we do have big news coming. So with that said, I know it's not a super exciting trade, but that's why I make these videos. I make these videos not just to show you the coolest moments of my trading, but to show you sort of the everyday ins and outs of trading. This is a trade that, you know, I think it played out all right. Honestly, I'm quite thankful that we didn't get hit with the stop loss, right? So because the stop placement initially on this trade was pretty decent, we were able to stay in the trade, and you know, you have to think about it in a positive light. At least we were able to make some amount of money here rather than just taking a full stop loss there. So all out on pound dollar, 25 bucks in the bag. I did end up being able to pay for lunch after all. So hey, there's the upside. So with that said, thank you guys for watching. If you like these live trading videos, hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll see you back next time. What's up guys? Thanks for watching today's video. There are more videos available on our channel here and here, so go ahead and click into that for some more free trading content. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you back next time.